What's going on, wrestling family? Welcome back to the channel. So apparently Rikishi is returning to WWE to join the Bloodline. It's about time. Who's gonna get that stink face? And also, they say here that AEW bans wrestlers from watching WWE, which is really interesting because I think that has something to do with something that's happening in AEW at this moment. But we'll talk about that when that subject comes across the screen. But before we get started, do me a favor, hit that subscribe button. Let's get into this.
What is going on, guys? It is WrestleMania
That was kinda
here,
weird.
back with some more news. Join us now as we look at the wildest news stories and rumors you need to know, including Rikishi finally joining the Bloodline saga, a new WWE show leaked, The Rock bringing back the final boss, did Cody Rhodes go off script, does Tony Khan ban talent from watching WWE, a former star wants to return at the Royal Rumble, and
Who
much
could that
more.
be?
Be sure to subscribe and hit that notification bell for daily wrestling videos, and follow us on Facebook for exclusive lists. Also check out our new videos on WrestleMania XL. Now I'll see the intro and get straight into our first story. Our first story looks at Rikishi finally joining the Bloodline saga. Our top story today takes a look at an interesting comment from WWE Hall of Famer Rikishi, and it looks like the former Intercontinental Champion could be finally ready to return to WWE and enter the Bloodline saga. Rikishi has been one of the key names missing from the Bloodline storyline since its inception. Rikishi, despite being the father of the Usos and Solo Sikoa, hasn't been present for any of the angles on WWE TV, and this has received a bit of criticism as it makes no sense as to why he hasn't been involved at all.
No, that makes
He's
sense.
quite actively putting his opinion on social media. Nevertheless, this could be all about to change. Speaking on his podcast, Rikishi said he'll know when the right time to return to WWE will be, and he hints that there needs to be an even playing field for the Bloodline on both sides.
Makes
Damn
sense.
it. Every time I keep trying to leave myself out, you guys keep trying pulling me back in. And of course, I'm not saying no, I won't. What I'm saying is, hey, I'll see it coming a mile away, and I'll know when it's time for me to throw my name in the hat. At the end of the day, we're going to make sure that this is going to be an even playing field for the Bloodline on both sides. Is this Rikishi hinting at counteracting Paul Heyman and Bloodline 2.0? This would be an exciting direction for WWE to take, and it'd be a smart use of Rikishi's talents and star power. Also, on the latest edition of his podcast, Rikishi outright shut down the creative pitch that would see him managing Jacob Fatu when he eventually arrives in WWE. This is probably for the best, as Fatu is incredibly talented in all avenues of pro wrestling. He certainly isn't a name that won't need a manager or a mouthpiece. Next up,
So I think with that, man, like, I get the criticism because people want it to happen, but I think what has been showing us so far, one of the, if not the greatest storylines in the history of wrestling, is that, you know, as I call Triple H, the slow cooker booker. Let him cook it slowly. I think Rikishi will show up at the time where it is needed, and every point in time in this whole thing with the Bloodline, they've been very specific on when they plan things out. They'll drop somebody returning, give a little breather, make somebody return, give a little breather. I think, honestly, if you ask me, I feel like Rikishi will return when it gets closer to the end of the storyline when it comes to the Bloodline. And I think that makes the most sense in my personal opinion. And I'm excited about Jacob Fatu showing up because whether he's in the Bloodline or not, we know he's going to be in the Bloodline, but all I know is his matches are going to be bangers. Bangers after bangers, and I cannot wait till he shows up, man. He is so good. I had to go back and kind of look into him in retrospect because I was familiar with him. I watch MLW, but I don't always watch every single episode they post, and I've seen what he did in the ring, but I went back to watch more matches of his, and dude, if he once he show up, it's going to be crazy. It's going to be crazy.
New WWE show leaked. It looks like WWE will yet again expanding their catalog of programming. WWE have filed for the trademark WWE Vault. WWE Vault, according to the trademark, reveals it will be the name of a brand new show. No details are known about the show at this stage. However, based on the name, it's fair to assume that the show will cover wrestling from the past in some aspect. It's entirely possible that WWE are allowing fans to watch never-before-seen matches, and the WWE Vault name would be a perfect title for such an exciting show. Obviously, nothing is confirmed, so we'll have to wait and see in relation to what exactly WWE have planned. Next up,
You know what'd be dope? Like, really quick, guys, I'm sorry I keep stopping this, is if WWE Vote had it where, let's say, like, I don't know, I'm just going to pick a random date. February 20th, or, you know, today's February 20th. Let's just say it's a Monday. I'm not checking the calendar or anything. Why don't they show a Raw from back in the day, maybe during the Attitude Era or something like that, and just show it on TV? Right around that time, and then have old commercials from back in the 90s of WWE as in the commercial breaks. And I think that'll be a pretty cool experience for people who want to go back and watch those shows but don't want to go on YouTube all day and watch it over and over. It'll be cool to watch it that way. But I'm very interested to see what exactly this is. Maybe they'll do some commentary, maybe they'll show us some stuff we didn't see like they said, but we'll see.
bringing back Final Boss social media promo? One of the undisputed highlights of WrestleMania 40 season was The Rock and his promos on social media. Although The Rock is absent from WWE TV, his personal writer and former head writer for WWE, Brian Gewirtz, has hinted that The Rock may go back to dropping random social media promos as a final boss. Speaking on the Masked Man Show podcast, he stated, "There's definitely a difference between the usual 'I'm gonna make a movie and maybe I'll return' to this lingering presence over Dwayne Johnson on the TKO board of directors, and The Rock essentially now existing in the space that is WWE, who can drop a final boss promo on Instagram anytime he wants in relation to a storyline or tweet something. I don't think it's going to be a regular occurrence, but I do think
Yeah,
it's going
I
to
hope
happen,
not.
and it's great because he's in it, and by extension, I'm in it too." According to Dave Meltzer from the Wrestling Observer, The Rock vs. Cody Rhodes is planned for WrestleMania 41. If this goes
We'll see.
ahead, it'll mean that WWE will be delaying The Rock vs. Reigns yet again.
We'll
It's
see.
entirely possible that WWE will deliver The Rock vs. Rhodes at SummerSlam in August, and then endeavor to book the dream match between The Rock and Reigns for WrestleMania 41 in Las Vegas. Next up,
I just hope they don't overdo it. I hope they just sprinkle it in when it's necessary. We don't need The Rock commentating on every single step of every single feud. That'll be kind of overdoing it, and people will get annoyed. And you don't want to do that because right now The Rock is at an all-time high right now as far as him being the final boss. So hopefully they do it properly.
did Cody Rhodes go off script? Speaking of Gewirtz,
When?
during his interview on the aforementioned podcast, he made an interesting revelation regarding reigning WWE champion Cody Rhodes. According to the celebrated writer, in the infamous segment which saw Rhodes surrender his WrestleMania 40 spot to The Rock, Rhodes was supposed to act completely differently. Cody is a human being who is genuine and real, and he wears his heart and emotion on his sleeve. The idea was supposed to be, it's like the Nixon-Kennedy debate a little bit, where you read the transcript and you're like, Nixon kicked his ass. If you watch the actual footage, oh, he was a sweaty, terrible mess. Cody, it was supposed to be in some form, yeah, go get him, Rock. You're gonna get your ass kicked, Roman. Let's do
Oh,
this.
he ain't like
And this
that. That's
uplifting
why.
promo. Instead, he looked like someone shot his dog in the face in a parking lot. Just look at his expression. Fans are
Yeah.
already reacting to his comments on social media, as fans are questioning why he's blaming Rhodes for the segment not turning out well, as if even if Rhodes acted in a positive manner, it would have changed the outcome and the reception to the segment. The segment was terrible, yet in hindsight, it ultimately didn't matter, as a pivot WWE embarked on was in everyone's best interest, and it resulted in some stellar programming on the road to WrestleMania 40. Next
Roman
up, Jey
laughing
Uso
at
sent
that
a
in that
warning
photo
to
is
young
crazy.
talent. Jey Uso has issued a warning to young talent who are potentially getting involved in wrestling for the wrong reasons. Speaking on the Battleground podcast, Jay stated that if you're someone who's going to get into wrestling for likes, views, and fames, it's not the profession for you. If you're trying to do this for like some likes and views and fame, this ain't it, bro. Because a lot of the homies are lined up for that and they're all gonna fail. I feel like just learn this craft. If you really love it, just start in the ring first. Learn the art of wrestling, right? Like, it's cool with characters, but I always take pride in that. Not a lot of people can do the entertainment part, the acting part, let alone do the athleticism in the ring, the moves, the bumps. What do you guys think of Jay's comments? Let us know in the comments down below.
I think what he said is pretty relevant. You know, it's true. It's great advice, but it's pretty relevant when it comes to any space, even like with YouTube and stuff like that, because a lot of people do start it because they want to get likes and views, and then they end up doing stuff that's out of their own character, turning into a whole different person in order to get these likes and views, just to realize they really don't have a passion for this and end up burning themselves out. So I'm sure the exact same thing applies to being a wrestler, because they take a lot of damage in the ring, bouncing off of that mat and things like that. And if you're in it for the likes and views and you're not in it for the love of the sport, then at some point in time, it's not going to take you too long to want to quit, because you're not in it really for the actual craft in itself. So I think he's on point about that.
Tony Khan banned talent from watching WWE.
Oh,
The
here we go.
2023 Royal Rumble saw Cody Rhodes return from injury and win the Rumble for the first time in his career, but it's now been revealed by Conan that AEW talent were told that they weren't permitted to watch the show. Talking about this on his podcast, the former US champion stated, but bro, he had given out that day the order that if you found out anybody was watching Cody at the Royal Rumble when he returned and won, Tony Khan basically gave an edict. I better not find anybody watching that show. Conan had made a number of AEW appearances, and he does have a friendship with numerous talents within the company. Whilst Conan's claims do indeed seem drastic, it's unlikely that Conan would make something like this up, and it'll be interesting to see if Khan formally comments on the report. It goes without saying that if this is true, that it raises alarm bells. Khan outright banning his talent from watching WWE is way too far, and this is not something that he should be dictating towards his talent. Next up,
Yeah, and it's really interesting because I wonder if Tony Khan was saying it in joking or was he serious? You know, because it all depends on how someone says it. I'm not, caping for Tony Khan. I don't know him personally, so if he did say something that crazy, then it is what it is. But you also got to remember the fact that there were some AEW stars that were actually in attendance at WrestleMania 40. Dustin Rhodes, which makes sense because Cody is there, but also Ricky Starks was there, and he was caught on camera having a facial reaction to the whole thing. I think in an interview probably a day ago, he's even like defended his choice to actually go there, which if they're banned from watching WWE to go as far to actually attend a actual major event for that company, I can, Ricky Starks hasn't been on TV in probably over almost 6 months. And maybe that situation probably made Tony Khan upset and kept him off of TV for that much more longer, which makes no sense because Ricky Starks is a star. It makes no sense at all to keep him off TV. I really hope WWE picks him up. But maybe that plays into that entire situation. And it kind of reminds me of back in the day. I don't know if you guys remember when the Highlanders, when one of them was injured and the other one was spotted going to a TNA show. And once the one that was injured healed up and came back, they both got let go. So I'm wondering if Tony Khan is punishing Ricky Starks in addition to whatever else was going on behind the scenes for going to WrestleMania 40. I personally don't know, but it kind of makes you wonder and put the things together. But you guys let me know if you found something out.
Stage reaction to recent WWE release. Earlier this month, it was confirmed that WWE had released Gable Steveson. Steveson was failing to catch fire in NXT, and he had firmly failed to connect with the fans. According to Fightful Select, the reaction backstage at NXT wasn't one of surprise when it was announced that Steveson had been released from the company. The report from Fightful Select also adds that the belief backstage was that Steveson's lack of progression within NXT, as opposed to his previous run-in with the Law, factored into WWE calling it a day on the Steveson project. And finally, a former star returning at the Royal Rumble. And our final story today takes a look at a potential return in next year's Royal Rumble. Although the 2025 Rumble is still a long way away, one former WWE star has already hinted that they will be willing to enter the matchup. The former WWE star in question is Peyton Royce, who had this to say during an interview on Ring the Bella. Yeah, I'm open to it for sure. I would love that. It'd be so good to catch up, and I mean, it's the Royal Rumble. We said no last time because we were still pretty hurt about it, but I feel heel now and I feel like I'd love to do that if the opportunity came. Seeing Royce in the Rumble would make for a great moment, and hopefully if this goes down, WWE book her to have a reunion with Billie Kay in the match itself.
That'd be
Royce
cool.
and Kay was shockingly released from WWE during the COVID-19 era, and the release came as a huge surprise to fans. Both were popular, and both played their part well within the women's division. But there you have it, folks, the wildest news stories in...
Yeah, I wonder, that would be cool. I mean, a lot of people thought that they were going to show up at, what was it? What did they think they was going to show up at? They thought they were going to show up at Elimination Chamber, from what I understand, since it was in Australia. So they thought that they were going to return at that point, which I thought would be really cool. But I don't... Did Billie Kay have her kid yet? Because I feel like I keep seeing pictures of her pregnant, so I don't even know if she would even be available. I don't know if she's having a second. I don't know what's happening with that, so I don't want to assume. But it would be cool to see them come back to kind of help out the women's tag division, because I think, with Bianca Belair and with Jade Cargill being tag team champions, we need more, real women tag teams in there. Not these mixed match, just adding people together, just making a random tag team type of thing. We need legit tag teams in that division, because all they're going to be doing is squashing a bunch of random tag teams, and it's going to feel weird. But at the end of the day, what do you guys feel? Let me know what you guys think in the comment section. Thank you guys so much for your support. I appreciate each and every one of you guys. Salute, peace, have a good day.